Ready?
Highlander, take it away with the NHL, please.
Be real. There's not too much to report on. Like JT said with basketball, once we get to like the playoff portion, that's where we'll go like game by game. We'll go into more detail of like who scored this, who scored that, who did well, more things for that. But just some quick little news with the NHL. The LA Kings traded goalie Jonathan Quick to the Blue Jackets on March 1st, which he then was traded from the Blue Jackets to Vegas on March 2nd.
Hmm.
This is a um, goalie who's won a Stanley Cup with LA. He's won medals with Team USA,
Yep.
and this man gets just now that he's like up there in his career, he got tossed around like a bag of chips
Mm-hmm.
in this trade thing. It mind blowing. Huge pickup though for Vegas, if you ask me. Especially when you look at Vegas, and Vegas is the number one seed in the West,
Mm-hmm.
and now they get a veteran goalie in there. I almost said quarterback. That's something for you. A veteran goalie in there. You now look at that, and having Quick is huge for a run, especially when Jonathan Quick made his debut for Vegas. Actually,
Mm-hmm.
um, and had a 25 save win in his Vegas debut.
Dang.
So that's huge for them.
Mm-hmm.
Another trade breaking news. As you know, the Rangers got Tarasenko from the Blues,
Right.
which, I mean, that's a huge push. Well, the Rangers weren't done there. They made a trade with the Chicago Blackhawks to get forward Patrick Kane.
Okay.
So now the Rangers now have Tarasenko and Patrick Kane to add into their offense. And as you see there, they're sitting there at the 6th seed.
Mm-hmm.
Adding this much offense to them, I'm telling you right now, the Rangers are now my favorite to win the East.
Ooh.
They have a young goalie, which, as you can see, the young goalie's doing pretty good.
Yeah. Doing well.
Now, in my opinion, they have the offense to run with anybody that's in this conference.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I mean, early looking at it, I look at this and say, it's got to be a Rangers versus Vegas Stanley Cup final.
Yeah.
Like I just don't see a West team. I mean, I guess Dallas is there, LA. I mean, the Kings though. The Kings are known for making good plays in the playoffs.
Right.
I mean, Seattle, as of right now, Seattle will be making their first playoff if they continue to stay good. So I mean, that's huge for that franchise.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Still so about the name. I mean, I don't know how I feel about the Seattle Kraken. I still feel like it's one of those teams that don't really know if I can get behind.
Yeah.
Um, you know, it's just I don't know. The look and colors are cool. It's just the Seattle Kraken just sound
I like the
weird.
name. I do. I
Do
can't
you?
lie. I do. I think it's a sick name. I mean, the Krakens. Like it just sounds so good to me. It just
I will
does.
say, as like it's gone on now,
Mm-hmm.
it has like it's gaining on me a little bit.
Yeah.
It's just when it was first announced, it was kind of like, huh, okay,
So it was just
interesting.
announced what, last year or 2 years ago?
Last year was their first year in the league.
Right, last year was.
So this is year two.
Because I remember, like, on a unrelated note for a second, the CDL team, the Florida Mutineers, they used to have the hashtag Fear the Deep, and I'm pretty sure that's
Yep.
also the Kraken's
Seattle, yeah,
hashtag, isn't it? Yeah,
Seattle came in and used that, and a
Fear the
lot of
Deep.
like
Yeah,
Florida Mutineer people were like,
they were
"Did you
mad.
just steal the CDL thing?"
Yeah, but they had no case because they're just so
Yeah.
much smaller than them. A professional hockey team. Like, you're not gonna win that fight. But anyway, yeah.
If there's one team on the East though that I'm really shocked about the most,
Mm-hmm.
like in the playoffs, I should say, in as of right now,
Okay.
it'd be the Devils.
Okay.
Um, New Jersey has been a team that has struggled the last few seasons.
Mm-hmm.
They've been trying to rebuild via the draft, working with young, trying to get build it up.
Yeah.
And as you can see, I think the rebuild has gone pretty well.
It's gone pretty nice.
I think the teams that we're really shocked about is these bottom three of Philadelphia, Montreal, and Columbus. Those three teams are teams that used to be in the playoffs all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So to see them as your, you know, bottom three teams in the East,
Especially Columbus recently, right? Wasn't Columbus just a couple of years ago, like
I mean, they lost
fighting
a
for the
lot.
Stanley Cup? Or no, not maybe not that high.
They were almost in the Stanley
were
Cup.
good,
They were
yeah.
battling Tampa for the Eastern Conference Final at one point
Mm.
a couple years ago. Hell, Montreal was in the Stanley Cup Final during the COVID year,
Okay, yeah.
and look where they're at. Philadelphia was also in the playoffs not that long ago.
Mm-hmm.
With I just want to point out as well, they had Young Hart as their goalie, and he looked really good. Their like first playoff push.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh yeah, he looked great. And then the next season came, and he looked like Swiss cheese. And it's kind of been the same since.
Yeah.
And it's like Detroit is just that's one of those teams that they've been struggling for a few years now.
Right.
I mean, which is really sad because I mean, they used to be called Hockey Town,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like people of Hockey Town haven't had any but like much to celebrate recently. When you look at the West Side, the Kings are the shocker to me. Again, the Kings are a team that were down here last year,
Mm-hmm.
and they somehow have gotten it to third, and actually they're competing. Honestly, they could move up to first at some point because the points aren't that
Very
that
close.
far.
Yeah.
These three are just
That hurts
again teams that used to be always in the playoffs, always,
you. Ducks, San Jose, Chicago.
and Chicago.
Yeah.
Like the amount of times that Chicago and Anaheim had some crazy Western Conference final battle against each other
Mm-hmm.
is game sevens all the time, it seems. Yet now these two are looking at each other going, yeah, maybe we'll get the first overall draft pick this year. Honestly, as a Ducks fan, I gotta say, something needs to be done. I mean, we have a lot of youth, a lot of young talent, but still, there's just no reasoning behind it. Especially when you look at some of the Ducks' losses, and like you look here at the score here, where this game is like 6-0, and that's kind of what the Ducks look like all season long.
6-0.
It's like they'll score 3 goals, but the other team will have like 8 on them.
Yeah.
And it's just like, see, I want to look at the goals for. There's got to be a team that has like a crazy amount here. 220 goals for.
And they're in
200
fourth.
200 against them. Look at
That's
this.
not good.
LA. 218 for, 215 against.
Yeah.
There's a lot of teams that have just been like Anaheim. Actually, that's the disgusting one.
257 against.
For 261.
161. Yeah, 4. Ooh. Is that the biggest discrepancy? It is, right?
I'm pretty
96.
sure that, yeah, because that's not as bad.
Look up in the East.
Uh,
Is there one worse up there? No.
yeah, the Ducks are the worst.
Oh, no.
Ducks,
You're not
like
dead
I said,
last.
we're not dead last. Look, we're 58 points. And
Yeah.
Tampa, San Jose, and Chicago are below us. And then
Columbus
we've
is the
also
worst
got
one,
Columbus. Yeah. Columbus is, and yet they don't have the worst goal differential.
No.
That right there proves my point of the Ducks scoring 3 goals, but then getting like 8 scored on them.
Right.
It's just there's something needs to be
I mean, it
changed.
seems like you guys need a new goalie.
The problem is the goalie's not even the worst part.
Oh,
In
he's not.
fact, Gibson has like multiple saves of the year this
Mhm.
year. It's just it's like our team forgets to play defense at times. Then again, though, I mean, I know you and I were talking about this the other day.
Yeah.
But these scores are not like how the scores have been this season.
Right.
I'm sure if I look in here, I can bring up a good point that JT and I have said multiple times. Is this you know what?
7-3.
This is a good example right here. You've got the Avalanche and Stars 7-3, Capitals and Sharks 8-3. There's so many games where 7-5. I mean, you just look at these games and why is there so many goals being scored now?
Yeah.
Like this, I feel like this year is the craziest with 6-3s, 6-1s. Like, there's been worse. 7. Well, I mean, that's Sabres Bruins. That makes number one versus the team that's down. And of course, then this week shuts me up. But no, like there's been a lot of games though where there's just blowouts, and it's making me question like what's changed this year compared to any other year. Because something's not right in hockey. Where like some teams are, again, you have games like this that are like, oh yeah, competitive. And then you have games like this that you're like, there's no competition at all. It's just, it almost feels like the NHL is slowly turning into the NBA in a weird way, where there's just some teams have just really strong teams. And then you have like the other teams that are like, well, thanks for competing this year. You're going to be down here. You have no chance of the playoffs. But congratulations. Wait, am I seeing that record right? 31, 25, and 4. Wait, where's Buffalo at? Was Buffalo in the hunt? Buffalo's in the hunt.
32, 25, and 4. So even that was not right. It said 31, didn't it? Yeah.
They're actually
they're in the hunt.
That's shocking for the fact that this team. I mean, you know this alone from all the years, from the years of you just being around it. Buffalo has not been good for a long time.
No.
For them to be actually in the hunt is actually shocking. This is actually shocking too. That Florida team was number 1 last year.
Oh, really? Wow.
And now they added 10 to that. But yeah, as the playoffs kick up, which this is the final, final-ish month of hockey because you have March, and then after March, there's like a couple games in April, and then end of April starts playoffs, which lasts for a while. But once the playoffs start really heating up, JT and I will go through like the games and be like, all right, well, this is what happened. Well, I'll just use the Rangers as an example. We'll be like, oh yeah, Patrick Kane scored this. That kind of stuff. We'll get more in detail. And yeah, that's basically about it for hockey currently.
Oh, you forgot to ask me about my picks.
Oh yeah, you know what? Good point.
It's not too late.
You know what? Good point.
All right.
Out of these teams, who do you see as your early picks? Of course, we're gonna redo these once we actually get like the actual,
of course,
playoff list.
Yeah.
But as of right now, who is the East and West team that you see in the Stanley Cup Finals?
Well, I mean, the stars are aligning for Boston again. I gotta say, I thought that a lot of times, but not watching, and I'm probably not gonna watch just because it might have been me. It might have been me. But Boston, I mean, they're dominant this year. I mean, every news outlet just states their dominance, and so I gotta go with Boston just because it just makes sense. And then for the West, I'm gonna pick Dallas.
Okay.
Dallas Stars are gonna make it.
Boston versus Dallas.
I believe in them.
In the Stanley Cup Final. Okay.
Yep. That one's more of a guess.
I see. I mean, I feel like the West is very up for grabs. I feel like when you look at the West and you look at the East is kind of, you kind of know who's going to win the East. Like, it's going to be most likely one of these three.
Right.
Honestly. One of the top 3. When you get to the West,
could be 1 through 8.
When you look at how close the points are.
True.
I just
Yeah, I mean, you have
I
an
feel like it
8-point
could be
differential
anyone.
between first and eighth.
That's
It's
what I
nothing.
mean. Like, I feel
Especially
like
because
when
we
it comes
still
to the
have what
West,
2 months of hockey to play still before the playoffs kick in.
yeah, because you still have this whole month,
Yeah,
and then you have, like I said, like 2 or 3 games possibly in April, and then playoffs. I
oh, it's
mean,
in May. Okay, yeah.
well, no, because it starts at the end of April is when the playoffs usually
Oh,
start.
okay.
But like you're looking at this, and even Nashville and Calgary aren't fully out yet.
Mm-hmm.
They have a little bit of a win streak, and Winnipeg and Colorado mess up, which is
Mm-hmm.
crazy to think that Colorado won the Stanley Cup last year,
And they're seventh. That's crazy.
and they're seventh right now. Not many changes were made either to that team.
Right.
Crazy what a year will do.